Hi, friends. Hello, the world. Welcome back to this episode of Tools for Transitioning Humanitarians. I'm here with your host, Asel. Today, talking about a very, very life changing tool that is coaching. At least, coaching has been instrumental, life changing in my life. And I really want to present to you how you can use that in your own life as well by coaching yourself or coming coaching with me or any other coach that you really resonate with and want to be coached by. So let's start with the topic of why it's life changing and what it is. And then I want to give you my examples of how I have done it. And also later, I will talk to you about how you can do it yourself or get coached and how that will look like as well. So, first, coaching. I'm sure you have heard so many different ways of coaching is used, and I will present to you the way that I use it, and I have been using it in my own life so that I can give you first-hand experience. Coaching is a neutral platform that you create, right? Neutral space that you create with yourself or with the coach that you're working with, where you look at your thoughts and feelings, or where you look at your actions, where you look at whatever you're happening in your life results, so that you can then decide, do you really like what you're having? And if not, what do you want to do about it? This is what coaching is. In other words, it's a space where you can have a look at them honestly, where you can have a look at them with some vulnerability, but also look at them with the intention of doing something about it instead of just keeping things as they are or keep complaining about them or keep feeling powerless in front of them. Instead, coaching helps you lay out all the things on the table, so to say, and then decide, do I really want to keep thinking this way, keep acting this way, keep having this result in my life? And if not, what do I want to do about it? That's like one of the biggest advantages and life changing aspects of coaching that you can use. Another one that I love about coaching is that it always assumes that you are in charge and you can always do something and change things the way you want to, instead of trying to find like answers or like mystical or whatever the mysterious answers in the past, or keep digging the past, or keep digging like vague things or abstract things, or instead of assuming that you're not capable or you're like this sick person or you are not capable person, instead of doing any of that, and it never uses any of those terminology either. It always assumes that you have all the extraordinary wisdom, extraordinary sources, extraordinary answers, extraordinary resources to solve things the way you want to get to where you want to. That's why I love coaching for that perspective. The other reason why I love coaching and how it's so life changing is it helps you divide what is it that you're actually in charge of and what is it that you cannot have any charge or you cannot control, and you shouldn't be even trying to do that, because keep trying to do that will just create more suffering and getting you away from actually what you're wanting to do. An example for this is that when we start thinking like, oh, I want them to think about me in this way, I want them to like me, I want them to think that I'm a good person, these are the times when coaching helps us understand that that's actually not possible, because we can't really control how other people think or control how other people view us, how other people perceive us, because it's totally up to them. That's why we can't really get into the head of how we can like change them or manipulate them, but rather how do we want to show up no matter what? How do we want to show up, showing who we are, being honest with ourselves, being honest with them, with others, and showing up the way we want to, and being ourselves no matter what. This is where coaching can help you so much to get yourself to that place. And another aspects of coaching that I love about is that it always looks at from the future of who you want to be and how you can start living that version now to create what you want to do instead of trying to do that from the past of what was possible for you, what you have done so far, and to use that, even though that's very important information and we can use as much of that past if we want to for our own advantage. But it still gives you lots of different ways to look at how you see yourself in 10 years, 15 years, or maybe even 6 months from now. And then how do you want to act from that version of you so that you can help yourself get to that place faster and more effectively? And the last point that I want to make about coaching, even though I could be talking a lot about it, is last point about how coaching is amazing is that whatever the things that we have been struggling up until now, whatever the habits we have been struggling with, whatever the things that we believe that is just how it is, we always then not only stay where this is how it is, but rather what do we want to do with it, what decisions we want to make, and how do we want to follow through them, and developing skills over time to do all of those things. For instance, if we say that we have no skill of following through, or we have no skill of commitment, or we have issues of commitment, or we have issues of avoidance, whatever those issues are, we keep addressing them in the process of creating the result that we want to. And that's an amazing way to not only get to the place that we want to, but also growing all of these skills along the way in the process. So that's why coaching is so much more than what I have described so far. But these are some of the major ways that will help you understand what it is that we're talking about, what tools that we're talking about, and how you can use it effectively for yourself or use it with another coach. Now, I want to give you some of the examples where I have used coaching to transition from the life of feeling like I was always a victim of my life. Life is happening to me that I'm just so overwhelmed. I'm this person who doesn't know what to do in life, or I'm this poor person who has no support system, or who has this, who has that problem. From being that person, from being like whiny and self pity seeking, poor me, I was adopted, or poor me this, poor me that, from that person to becoming the person who decided that how do I actually want to live my life? Do I really want to keep whining and keep being a victim of my own life? Or rather, I want to be the designer, the architect, the person who decides what to do and how to live her life. And then I have arrived in this part of um, the transition. And ever since then, I have not only transitioned from careers, as you all know, I have not only transitioned from being a humanitarian to being a life coach and entrepreneur in that sense, right? But also, I have been able to decide how do I want to create my impact in the world? How do I want to make my contribution to changing the the world in the way that I believe could go, and helping other people see that as well, but also spending so much more time with my loved ones, with my family, and also having the financial freedom to be continuing having the lifestyle that I love having. This is where I have transitioned myself. And I think the most important part of how coaching helped me understand is that I have all this inner freedom of doing whatever I want to do, however way I want to create my life, I want to live my life, and understanding and really tapping into that freedom is, I think, the biggest gift coaching has helped me achieve. And that's what I really want to help you achieve as well. Understanding how I'm no longer needing to be afraid of my feelings, how I'm no longer being afraid of my thoughts, for my overthinking and why I'm overthinking and how I'm stressed, and always knowing that I know what to do with them instead of feeling like, oh my God, this is all happening and I don't know what to do, right? So that's why this is, I think, the biggest gift that coaching has helped me achieve is having that inner freedom, having that inner peace, creating that inner freedom, creating that inner peace to live the life the way I want to. These are the biggest achievements that I have had with coaching tools. Now, let's talk about how you could do this. You could use this coaching tool for yourself, with yourself, right? This is one of the biggest impactful tools that you can use in your daily exercises, in your daily life, or regularly, whichever the regularity you want to use it for. So let's have a look at how you could do that yourself, and then I will show you how you could also do it with a coach that you choose. So in the coaching yourself part, which many of the coaches call it nowadays self-coaching, right? The self-coaching that I think, at least the way that I know it, came from the life coach school. And the self-coaching is really giving yourself or creating within you the safe and neutral space where you lay down all the things of what's happening and then deciding what to do with them, right? So for instance, one of the methods it could be is you write down all of your thoughts, all of your feelings, or whatever is happening for you within you, writing down all of them so you can have a look at them in the paper version. That is, I think, one of the most effective methods that is taught, and I use that on daily in my own life. And also once I have written all of them, then I may look at, depending on how much time I dedicate for this, it may take actually 3 minutes, 5 minutes, however long you dedicate time for, and then have a look at what some of the disturbing thoughts or some of the disturbing feelings or some of the feelings that I would feel like, they're like feeling so present in my body and I want to look at them. And then having a look at those words, those thoughts, having a look at them and then seeing what's the effect of them on me now and what do I want the effect to be, or what do I want to do with that, right? So, and then making a decision about it. So, for instance, one of the recent thoughts that I had was, again, this is me who's doing all the things others are not doing, right? So, in the family matters, for instance. And then I was looking at that thought being like this thought that keep generating resentment in me, like a very, even though it's not an open resentment maybe, but very like subtle resentment. And then I was seeing how that was feeling in my body. And I thought, I don't want to feel that way, right? I don't want to feel resentful, especially if I'm already helping someone, especially if I'm already doing something for the other person. I want to do it with love. I don't want to do it with resentment. And therefore, I have decided, how do I want to think about this from now on, right? I wanted to think about that. I want to help this person with love. Now that I have decided to help, I may as well help with love. So therefore, then from then on, the resentment feeling is gone. Right? So that's one of the methods that you can use. There are so many others you can use that I will be explaining a few of them, right? Another one that is so helpful is look at create the distance between our thoughts and ourselves. In other words, knowing that thoughts are all optional and they come and go. And instead of believing everything that comes up in our way, instead of believing like, oh my God, I'm feeling tired, or oh my God, I'm feeling resentful, or whatever it is that we're feeling, instead of just keep feeling them, we can also create a distance and like say, this is what's happening for me now. This is the truth that's here now. Yes, I'm believing, yes, I'm feeling, and the reason I'm feeling it is because of the story that I'm telling myself. and this is what's happening. And the way that I look at it is like taking off your clothes and looking at them and saying, this is my clothes. Right. So, in other words, this is like you're observing your thoughts and feelings so that you have a distance between you and those feelings and thoughts, and then deciding, okay, this is what's happening. I'm here to allow them. I'm here to observe them, and that's okay. It's happening. I don't need to act. I don't need to do anything about it if I don't want to. I'm just recognizing that it's there. I'm allowing it to be there. And that can be also very powerful. And that can also help you be just so stay in the awareness of this is what's happening. This is what's true for me now. No matter how much your brain wants to then say, well, in the view of all the other people suffering, you should just be lucky. You shouldn't be complaining, or you shouldn't be ungrateful. You should be just grateful, right? Even if your brain, all of the things that are saying, just remove it for now and just staying in your truth of what's happening. Allowing those feelings is one of the powerful tools that we have that we can do. Another tool in the coaching yourself part is actually just noticing, recognizing, and processing your feelings of what's happening. Whatever it is, this is what's true for me, right? So, for instance, I feel sad. I don't need to avoid it. I don't need to suppress it. I don't need to justify it. I don't need to silver line it. Any of that. This is what's happening. And I just stay with it. And this is also very powerful. Another powerful tool in coaching yourself is obviously questions. I love amazing questions, but I also did a while back an episode about uh, deficit seeking questions or sufficiency seeking questions. And I think you can find it on my social media. So I really suggest for you to look at that as well. I have divided them up into how do you know when this question is just seeking deficit, meaning that what you don't have, and keep focusing on that, which is never useful. And what are the questions you can ask that actually help you get to what you want to and create what you want to, right? So that's why questions that, for instance, why am I always this way is likely to get you to the answers that you don't like anyway, or answers that your brain's so used to criticizing yourself that you will just keep using it as a way to beat yourself up, which is never useful. That's why asking yourself some powerful question is always amazing, and that can shift yourself into the places that you want to go. For instance, some of the powerful questions that I love thinking about is whatever that things happened, what do I want to do now? How do I want to solve it now? How this is actually in my control to solve. What are the ways I can do that? Right? Instead of focusing on, oh my God, this happened and that happened, da, 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 which in the end don't really serve me in any way, but rather it is what it is. Here are the ways I want to solve. How are the ways I'm going to solve it so I actually feel very good in the end of solving it instead of feeling dreadful in the end of solving it, right? So that's why you can ask yourself very, very powerful questions of focusing yourself to the solution, focusing yourself to how powerful you are in having the ability to solve it instead of how what you don't have the XYZ or how you wish you had this and then it wouldn't happen. And all of this are not necessary. So that's why I find some of the powerful, powerful questions that you can ask yourself on daily basis or even like seek new questions that you can ask yourself in the curious and amazing way to really get yourself flowing your answers to everything instead of wanting to seek answers somewhere else and outside of you, right? So another way that you can, of course, do, which is an amazing skill, or sorry, the amazing method is posing a theory of what is wrong, or what is the problem and how are you going to solve it? Which is the same as similar as previous question, but except here you will be just posing a theory of this is what I think might be happening. Here are the reasons why I think might be happening and guessing what that could be, and then start solving for it and see what happens. Right. So instead of waiting for the answer, instead of waiting for how if it wasn't for this, if it wasn't for that, and all the things, or how you don't know and what to do and all the things, you just pose a theory of, I think this is what's happening, and therefore here might be the answers that I can do, or here might be the solutions I can work on. This is how you could do coaching yourself. Now, let's go to the part where you got coached by a coach. Now, obviously, there are lots of amazing coaches who have amazing methods, who have amazing ways to help you get to what you want to. And here is how I want to show you how I work with people, so you have an idea of how that is the case. So, well, first of all, I really invite you to come to a pre-coaching session so we can get you coached up freely so you see how that is for you with your individual specific situation. And here is the way that I usually work with people is in the first session, I ask them where are they now currently in terms of how they see their lives, how they see themselves, or maybe any specific questions they have, they want to work on it, and where that is now, and where do they want to get to, right? So it could be transitioning outside of humanitarian world, or maybe even not outside, but staying in the transitioning world, but still having the life or living the life they want to, in addition to their jobs. And that could mean having a family, having more time with their loved ones, or having more freedom to be doing other things in their lives. So whatever it is, where do they think they want to go? That's what we do establish. Now, there might be people who might say to me that, well, I don't really know where to go, or I don't really know what I want, and that's not a problem. Then we start looking at what are the things that you don't want. That's also another way of looking at it is what are the things you don't want? And then we start exploring so that we can see where the block is in terms of not knowing the answer. Because we believe that if we don't know the answer, then we don't need to change anything, then we won't be afraid, and therefore everything will be fine. But we know that if we're not really satisfied where we are now, or whatever the thing that's happening in our lives, then we want to do something about it. And instead of just not wanting to see what's happening, instead of not wanting to know, let's get curious as to what is it exactly that's happening within. And then slowly, slowly exploring what is it that you actually want, that you're just not wanting to be honest about, or not wanting to look at them because you're afraid. And we just start unlocking them. And then we start looking at all the thoughts, all the beliefs that might be contributing to feeling in a particular way. That could be overwhelmed, that could be stressed, that could be tired, that could be not recognized, that could be overwhelmed. So, whatever the feelings that you might be generating, which then are leading you to do things in the particular way or not do things in the particular way that you want to, and then creating the experience that you have currently. And then we go to looking at how do you want to do? How do you want to be in charge of that? How do you want to do that in the honest, truthful way to you? And if you believe that you can't really do that, then what are the circumstances or the life experience we can create where you actually will be able to do it, right? So that's why there are some people who may be saying that, well, if I come to Asel, then she will just reveal my truths about wanting to leave the humanitarian world, but I don't want to because I'm too scared. If that is you, no problem. I will never ask you to do anything that you don't want to do, so don't worry about it. But I will definitely help you get clear as to what is it that you're wanting What is it that you are truly, genuinely wanting? And what are the fears that are stopping you from getting to what you want to, creating the future that you want to? And I will help you befriend the fear or know how to deal with fear or any other emotions, and also being in charge of all the thoughts that you want to and being intentional about getting to what you want to and intentionally creating it instead of just leaving it to let's hope things will somehow work out in the way that I want to. And this all is possible with coaching. So that's why, my dears, I really, really, really want you to be using all the resources available to you, whether you use it coaching yourself or you coach with me or you coach with someone else. What's really important is that you know that you have all the tools, resources available to create the life you want to and living it as of now instead of delaying it, instead of feeling like you don't know what, instead of feeling like you have no time for it, instead of feeling like you can't afford it, instead of using all of these excuses, just start exploring the ways of seeing how powerful you are, how much resources you have within, how much wisdom you have within to actually lay the unique path that you have to create and to live the life you want. And that's really my advocacy. That's really my wish and desire for you to have the life you want to without delaying it any longer. Therefore, I hope that you will use all of these tools and you let me know to get coaching. So have an amazing weekend and I will speak to you next week.